on February 5th and pulled down her season best 7 rebounds against Cameron.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome inside the Steinke Physical Education Center on the campus of Texas A&M-Kingsville in Kingsville, Texas, where this afternoon the Javelina Sports Network presents Texas A&M-Kingsville Javelinas basketball. The Javelinas hosting their final home doubleheader of the season, and they'll be battling the Western New Mexico Greyhounds. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mark and Sarah, and as I'm sure you can see on the court right now, the Senior Day ceremonies are underway. And the two seniors for the Temuque women's squad are Christina Kanya, who's being honored right now, and Chloe Lane. The Javelina men's team will have 4 senior honorees, and we'll have that ceremony at halftime of today's women's contest. Both of these Javelina squads fighting for contention in the Lone Star Conference. The men's squad clinched a spot in the postseason in the LSC tournament on Thursday with an 88-63 victory over UT Permian Basin. The women's team can essentially lock up a spot this evening, or I should say this afternoon. They are a game ahead of Western New Mexico for the 8th slot in the tournament. And if the Javelinas win this game, they'll have swept the season series, which means they'll be 2 games up on Western New Mexico with the head-to-head advantage. And the Javelinas are also 2.5 games up on Cameron. So a win today should basically clinch a spot in the postseason for the Javelinas for the second time in 3 seasons. They won on Thursday. They beat UT Permian Basin 73-65 on Thursday evening. And the Javelinas going for the perfect weekend. In their third to last game, they will head on the road to Cameron and MSU, Texas. And both of those teams right now are also fighting for a position in the LSC. And for the Javelinas, an enormous win over UT Permian Basin. It was a close game on Thursday. Rachel Tapps having maybe her best game of the season with 16 points, also 5 rebounds. Brianna Solis with her third double-double, 13 points to go with 11 boards. Chloe Lane, who's been really the hottest player on this team, put up 11, and Reve Payne had 15, her second highest scoring output of the season. As the seniors, Lane and Kanya being honored at half court. And always a lot of pictures being taken on this day, an emotional day for the senior class. Lane, who joined the team this season as a transfer from Alcorn State. Kanya, who's in her second year in the blue and gold, transfer from Coastal Bend College. Her sister and her family is here. Her sister, Kaylee Kanya, was a basketball player here before Christina was, and helped this team reach the LSC tournament 2 years ago. And in doing so, made history 2 years ago, and they were the first 8 seed to upset a 1 seed in the Lone Star Conference tournament. But this Javelina team trying to write their own story. And again, a win today will put them in a position to do that. And Western New Mexico, a team that comes in fighting for contention in the LSC as well, as I mentioned, 9th in the LSC, 1 game behind the Javelinas. And both teams ready and raring to go. We'll be right back with the tip-off from the Spec. Back at the spec, the starting lineup is being introduced right now, and I'll give you the starters for Western New Mexico first, and they include a face that may be familiar to Javelina fans. At the guard spots for Coach Lauren Unger, number 3 Sarah Lopez, a 5'7" redshirt junior from El Paso, Texas. Cassandra Vickery, a 5'7" sophomore guard from Tularosa, New Mexico. Number 15 Rachel Francisco, a 5'4" sophomore from Seattle, Washington. And Ciara Fields, number 20, a 5'9" senior from El Paso, Texas. And the one forward for the Mustangs is Tatiana McFarland, number 12, a 5'10" senior from Riverside, California, and a former Javelina. The starters for Coach Wade Scott in his 5th season at the helm. The guards, number 2 Danielle Metter, a 5'10" junior from Corpus Christi, Texas. Number 23 Rachel Taps, a 5'8" junior from Cypress Ranch, Texas. And number 13 Reve Payne, a 5'5" sophomore from Pearland, Texas. The two forwards, number 14 Chloe Lane, a 5'11" senior from Kansas City, Missouri. And Brianna Solis, number 32, a 5'9" redshirt freshman from San Angelo, Texas. And it'll be Solis against her former teammate taking the opening tip-off. Both these teams fighting for a spot in the LSC tournament are underway. Ball comes to Francisco as she sets up the offense inside to McFarland. Lopez into the corner for Vickery. Vickery with the layup for 2. Fields and Vickery come in as 2 of the leading scorers for this Western New Mexico team. Both of them, as well as McFarland, averaging scoring in double figures. Lane for Taps. Chloe Lane for 3, and she starts off the game in the same frame of mind that she's played in over the course of these last few weeks. Vickery working on Reve Payne, coming off for a 20-point game. Outside for Fields. No good, rebound out of bounds. McFarland giving chase. Possession to the Javelinas. Western New Mexico coached by Lauren Unger, assisted by Lizeth Orego, Taylor Peacock, and Danielle Wilson. For Wade Scott, his assistants DJ Slifer and Misha Wade. And the Javelinas and the Mustangs, 2 of several teams in action in the Lone Star Conference this afternoon. And the Javelina women's team, just one of several Javelina squads in action this weekend. The baseball team playing right now over at Nolan Ryan Field. The softball team playing later against Tarleton. Payne has that one go in and out. Fields into the front court. Lopez wants to work on Taps. Into the corner for Vickery. Vickery gets Payne in the air, has to toss it out to Fields. Fields gets it back and will try a 3 and hit it. And Western New Mexico ahead 5-3. Taps, Metter, Lane, Payne in the corner. Instead swinging it right to Rachel Taps. Fresh off her highest scoring day of the season. Taps gets her defender in the air, heads into the paint for an easy 2. Western New Mexico ahead quickly. Lopez trying the up and under on Solis, has it blocked. Loose ball came to Payne, and then Lopez got called for the foul.
23. Jump stop. Stay on the floor,
In addition to Mook's game today, UTPB entertaining visiting San Angelo. West Texas is is on the road against Commerce. TW against MSU Texas as Solis inside tosses it out to Taps. Metter for Payne. 4 to shoot. Taps trying to work on Fields. Metter just gets it off and connects. Unger was lobbying for a shot clock violation, but it looked like Metter got that off in the nick of time. And the Javelina lead is now 8-5. McFarland, who was the Javelina's second leading rebounder last season. Francisco back to McFarland. Fields, or check that, Lopez inside. Fields now with it, lost it. Ball on the floor with 4 to shoot. The jump ball will get possession to the Javelinas. And the officials sorting something out real quick, but it looks like everything is in order and we're ready to go. Javelinas have hit 3 of their first 4 shots to begin this game. Taps for Payne. Metter. Taps. Trying to get to Solis. Loose ball comes right back to Rachel Taps. Lane to Payne. Metter with 6 to shoot. Taps and the ball stolen by Vicker. The shot clock runs out, but possession was already in the hands of the Mustangs. McFarland with a layup. Payne into the front court for the Javelinas. Payne for 3, and Reve Payne connects. Javelina lead is 11-7. Payne hit a couple of threes on Thursday, as I mentioned, on her way to 15 points. McFarland against Solis. Shot blocked. Pass deflected, and it comes to Taps.
Holy shit!
And apologize if you hear the language from Lauren Unger. I can't blame her. And now a travel will give it to Western New Mexico. It certainly looked like McFarland, certainly looked like there was plenty of contact inside, but there was no foul called. As it is, the turnover gives the ball back to Western New Mexico. Mustangs 5-12 entering today with the same overall record as the Javelinas, 9-15. They took a loss on Thursday against Angelo State. And the 3 by Sierra Fields tickles the twine.
Back to 23! Back to 23!
And Lane into the front court for Reve Payne. Lane in the corner. Payne with it. Underneath, wide open Solis. Easy 2 points for her. She's on the score sheet for the first time. Solis has established herself in just one season as one of the conference's top rebounders. McFarland has the shot blocked. Metter ahead to Rachel Taps. Payne trying for the layup. That one has nothing but air. McFarland to Sarah Lopez. 4:15 to go. We are in the first quarter here at the Specs. A 13-10 lead for the Javelinas. Vickery over Metter. Bordered by Solis. Tossing it ahead for Rachel Taps. And Kayla Clark preparing to check in for the Mustangs. 3 from Lane. Rolls out. Lopez and Western New Mexico 4 for 9 to start this game. These teams are a combined 5 of 8 from 3. McFarland heads inside. Loose ball tossed out by Destiny Johnson. Layup no good from Lopez. Into the front court for Lane. Almost too far for her. Layup no good, but she does draw the foul. And that'll be 1 on Destiny Johnson. And they call that foul. We go to our immediate timeout, the 3:31 mark. 13-10 Javelinas. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network.
Every time the Hawks make a three-pointer, you get one step closer to a hot friend.
Hannah Alcoyne and Christina Kanya into the game for Tamuk as Chloe Lane to shoot 2 free throws. The first trip to the charity stripe tonight for either side, and Lane hits the first one. Sarah Fields already with 6 points for Western New Mexico, and Lane hits them both. Chloe Lane with 5 early points. The Javelina lead is 5. Johnson swinging it back to Francisco. Fields gets a pick. Inside to Clark. Johnson tossing out a 3. Too long from Vickery, and a foul. That one goes against Kayla Clark, and possession to the Javelinas.
13 fouls for the Mustangs.
Taps has been the court general for the Javelinas all season. She did miss a few games this season, but she is the person who runs this offense. Taps has that ball deflected. It still comes to Metter, who stays inbounds and gives it to Kanya. 6 to shoot. Alcoyne trying to use the glass. That one got nothing but air. Lane back up for a layup, and she draws the foul as the shot clock runs out. And that's the 3rd or 4th time that the Mustangs have forced the Javelinas to use the entire shot clock. But the Javelinas have avoided the shot clock violation in each instance.
Number 24,
And the foul goes on Destiny Johnson. That's her second. And Tatiana McFarland getting ready to check back in.
2-2 for the Hawks.
And Lane now with 6 points as McFarland re-enters the game. McFarland and Angelica Wilson were 2 of the mainstays at the forward spots for the Javelinas last season, as Lane has 7 points. Rana Solis in for her. McFarland last year averaged better than 5 rebounds a game, played in 26 of Tamuk's 28 games. But joining the Mustangs for her senior season. McFarland trying to work on Solis, gets her in the air and uses the window for 2 points. Javelina lead cuts to 5. Tamuk shooting 5 of 9 from the floor. They have come out in top form from a shooting perspective. Into the corner for Alcoyne. That one in and out. McFarland the rebound, and she draws the foul. And that one will go on Danielle Metter. That is Metter's first foul. And Lydia Giral in for Danielle Metter. Giral started the season playing a lot. She had a little bit of a valley there where she didn't see the court that much, but she has moved back into a part of this rotation as of late. Rebound bounces out off of Western New Mexico. Possession to the Javelinas. And the Mustangs have started this game 5 of 12 from the floor. They also have not been to the free throw line so far. Alcoyne for Giral. Alcoyne gets it back. Kanya. Payne. Swing it to Alcoyne. Look, asking for it inside of Solis. Guarded well by McFarland. Payne will try a three. That rebound comes out to Francisco. Vickery heads inside. Clark trying to find a shot, gets fouled. And she'll shoot 2 free throws. And these will be the first 2 free throws of the night, or I should say of the day, for Western New Mexico. Clark 11 of 15, that's 73% on free throws this season. That one too strong. Francisco, Vickery, Clark, McFarland, and Ciara Fields are the 5 on the floor for Western New Mexico as they move to within 4 points here late in the first quarter. Payne being guarded by Francisco. Javelinas have led by as many as 7 here in the first period. Kanya for Reve Payne. Alcoyne with 8 to shoot. Giral in the corner. Inside to Solis. Kanya's got to get a shot off. And the shot clock violation will turn it over to Western New Mexico. And they're going to put 1 second back on the shot clock. And Mustangs have done a good job of really making the Javelinas work for shots. Lydia Giral puts up the 3, no good, and there is the shot clock violation. And Wade Scott not happy with the lack of urgency that his offense is operating with here in the first period. Each team should have at least 1 possession left with 43 on the game clock with the ball being inbounded. McFarland. Clark swinging it left for Francisco. McFarland over Solis, can't draw the foul. Solis the rebound. Javelinas can wait for the last shot. And Solis content to calmly bring it across the midcourt stripe. Payne, hearing the direction from her coach, wants to wait for that last shot. Payne being guarded closely again by the Mustangs. Heads inside for a floater and finds the twine. And the officials are happy with where the clock is at 6 seconds. And we get a whistle and a foul on an unhappy Reve Payne in the backcourt. So the good news is that's only Payne's first, and the Javelinas have 2 fouls to give, so there's no sense holding on to those. And Lopez comes in now with 5 seconds left in the quarter. Racing into the front court. And the shot no good from Vickery. 1 quarter of play in the books. 19-13 our score at the Spec. Start of the second quarter, Javelina's ahead by 6 points. And Western New Mexico with the basketball. Francisco with 5 to shoot. A 3 from Fields is off the mark. Rebounded by Rachel Taps. Taps runs over Rachel Francisco, and there's an offensive foul. And that was just a good play by Francisco. Got in position and was in a perfect spot to draw the charge. And some floor maintenance being performed underneath the basket the Javelinas are shooting at. 9:27 to go in the first quarter, or in the first half, excuse me. 19-13 lead for the Javelinas, who hit 6 of 12 shots in the first quarter. Western New Mexico shooting 5 of 17 so far. That's under 30%. Mustangs 2 of 7 on threes. The Javelinas 3 of 7. 9 rebounds for the home team, 7 for the visitors through one quarter. And an offensive foul will give possession right back to the Javelinas. And that one on Cassandra Vickery. Each team now with 1 foul here in the second quarter. And Udall will head to the bench as Danielle Metter comes back into the game. Lane to Kanya. Metter with the layup, not strong enough. McFarland gives it to Francisco. Ahead for Lopez. Tossing out to no one in particular, but the loose ball, though, comes to Fields. Inside for a layup, and Vickery draws the foul. And for Metter, that is her second foul. That's the second against Tamook. Vickery hits the first free throw as Lopez is replaced by Kayla Clark. Chloe Lane with a game-high 7 points so far. As Vickery adds 1 more to her total, she's got 4. Mustangs within 4 points. Lane trying to drive inside, has it blocked by Clark. Francisco to Vickery. Pass over the head of Clark, but it's saved by Fields. Inside McFarland, left open for the layup. Can't hit it, but does draw the foul. And 2 shots coming up for the native of Riverside, California. That's Kanya's first, and the Javelinas already at 3 fouls with not even 2 minutes off the clock here in the second quarter. McFarland 32 of 59 from the free throw line this season. Gets the friendly roll on the first one.
Hey, switching 1 through 4. Tate's 4. Tate's 4. We're 23 right here.
McFarland trying to cut this lead to 2, and she does her job. Mustangs have scored 7 of the last 9 points. Kanya for Rachel Taps. Payne in the corner for Chloe Lane. Javelinas trying to find an opening for a shot. That one no good. Rebounded by Francisco. Fields. And a whistle and a foul called inside. Rachel Taps lobbying for a travel, but instead that's her second foul.
Hey, can we wipe?
And Goodall quickly summoned off the bench to replace Rachel Taps.
Tina, can we get a towel? You're good? Flat.
Mustangs with a chance to tie or take the lead here, and we're gonna have some a towel right on the floor, but the official underneath the basket said no. Ball tossed out to McFarland. And she gives it up to Francisco. Jumper from Fields, no good. McFarland fighting for the board. It goes to Lane, who throws it off McFarland. Out of bounds off of Western New Mexico. And McFarland clapping her hands almost as if she had a grudging respect for that play by Chloe Lane. Javelina still looking for their first points here in the second quarter. And they've missed their first 3 shots. All 4 of the Mustangs' points in this period have come from the free throw line. Kanya for Giral. Lost out of bounds. Possession stays with the Javelinas, but only 9 left to shoot. 7 minutes and 10 seconds to play before we hit halftime. Payne to Kanya. Kanya over Vickery. Rebound comes high to Solis, has it knocked out of her hands, out of bounds. And so the shot clock will reset. And actually they're going to call a foul against Ciara Fields. That's 2 against WNMU. And that's also the first against Fields. So Lee's to shoot 2. She is just a shade under 70% for the year. At least she was until she hit that free throw. And so Lee's connects on 2 of 2. 4 points for the redshirt freshman. Thrown to the front court for Vickery. McFarland. Fields. Fields wants to head inside over. Kanya can't get the roll. Loose ball rebound, though, out of bounds off of the visitors. Javelina's ahead by 4 now after those 2 free throws by Solis. Neither team has hit a shot from the floor so far in the second quarter. They're combined 0 of 8. Goodall for Payne. Kanya thought about the 3, but gives it back to her point guard. Kanya with now 9 to shoot. Lane. Payne inside Goodall. Lane's going to have to put it up. No good. McFarland takes the rebound away from Goodall. Ahead for Francisco.
Luke Cassie. See. Attack base.
Vickery. Driving on Goodall. Layup no good, but 2 more free throws coming. This will be the 7th and 8th free throws of the second quarter. That's 2 on Goodall, and the Javelinas are over the limit. And Angelica Wall getting ready to check in for the first time. Wall checks in for Goodall. And Naire Petty is in for the first time.
Make sure everyone's matched up.
Vickery hits 1 of 2. McFarland can't keep her foot off the baseline.
Match up. Tati, your 4. Switch it 1 through 4. Switch it 1 through 4.
Payne being guarded in the backcourt by Francisco, tracking her all the way up the floor. Chloe Lane, the leading scorer for Temuco so far with 7 points. Payne also has 5. Kanya for Lane, 7 to shoot. Floater is no good, so Lee's the rebound and the putback. 6 points for Brianna Solis.
Kickback driver.
She also has 4 rebounds and 3 blocked shots so far. McFarland for Petty. McFarland gets it back. Vickery will try a three over Kanya. That one's long off the iron, batted out to McFarland.
Hey, Horns,
And
Tati.
Eastern with their deficit
Horns, Tati.
now up to 5.
Tati,
Will have another opportunity. And that put back by Solis, the first made basket of this quarter. McFarland, no good, rebounded by Clark. And the visitors will start again. It's the 5th offensive rebound for Western New Mexico. So looking for their first second chance points, and Kayla Clark provides them. 4.5 minutes to go before we hit the halftime break. Lane for Payne. Wall. Payne. Chloe Lane for Christina Kanya. Payne with a floater, no good. Solis gets the rebound, but an offensive foul is called. That goes against Solis. That'll be her first. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. First free throw no good from Petty after the foul against Brianna Solis. And then a foul against Kayla Clark. It's the third against Western New Mexico. And so Temuc's lead remains at 3. Kanya to Payne to Angelica Wall. Lane for Wall, who's in the game for the first time. Kanya out of the corner for a 3. That one's no good. Off the marks to Lopez. And Wall will get called for a foul in the backcourt. And with the Javelinas over the limit, this will result in 2 shots. Western 6 of 10 from the charity stripe today. And Lopez sinks the first of 2 as Ciara Fields comes into the game, replacing Kayla Clark. Lopez picks up her first 2 points of the game. And McFarland into the game. And she'll replace Destiny Johnson. So Lane, Payne, Kanya, Wall, and Solis on the floor for Wade Scott. Lane to Kanya to Solis for an easy 2. Javelinas break the press perfectly. Solis already has 8 points. Vickery has that shot blocked, but a foul is called. And for Wall, that's quickly 2 fouls. And Javelinas running into some issue with foul trouble so far. Matter Tavsky et al. And now Wall, all with 2 fouls. I would not be surprised to see Hannah Aucoin come back in momentarily. And Vickery now with 6 points. Vickery, Fields, and McFarland all with 6 points. Tied for a team high for the Mustangs. Vickery misses the second one. The rebound batted to Fields. Fields goes right inside and ties it up at 25. Payne. Payne for Chloe Lane. Reve Payne for Angelica Wall. Payne will try a 3. Rebounded by Lopez.
Hey, up 2.
Francisco.
Tati, look at slip. Tati.
Lopez. Fields sets a pick. Fields gets it back. Mustangs trying to take their first lead since the opening moments of this game. Shot no good. Rebound grabbed by McFarland, who puts it back. And an offensive foul will turn it over to Western New Mexico. They've outscored the Javelinas 14-6 here in the second quarter. They're also holding Temuc to just 2 of 11 shooting. They've out-rebounded their hosts 13-6. Fields going against Wall, trying to avoid picking up her 3rd foul. And the basket is good. And Wall already at 3 fouls. And now Nicole Hutchins and Lydia Giral will come in.
Hey, Becky. If she makes it, I want to time out.
And so Lees also gets a breather.
Time out, please.
And Fields completes the three-point play. We have a timeout on the floor. Sierra Fields with a game-high 11 points. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network.
Catering and processing. 217 East Main.
Lane inbounding it to Reve Payne. Javelina is trailing by 5 here in the second quarter. This is the largest lead for Western New Mexico today. Payne. Payne gives it to Chloe Lane. And a foul called on the strip by Rachel Francisco. Javelinas are without their leading scorer today, Brene Thompson, who is unavailable. That foul was the 4th against Western New Mexico. That was their last foul to give. So this Temuc offense trying to function without a player who's been the main catalyst for them this season. Chloe Lane has probably been the player who's been the most productive points-wise over the course of the last month, but Thompson, a player in the top 10 in the conference in scoring entering this weekend. Lane lost it out of bounds. And the ball and possession will stay with the Javelinas. Payne. Payne running out of time. Gives it to Lane, who can't connect on the layup, but then it's spiked out of bounds by McFarland. And the Javelinas will reset with 80 seconds on the clock. Payne. Udall inside, trying to find some room. Shot no good. Rebounded by the Mustangs. Lopez into the front court for Western New Mexico. McFarland tosses it out to Lopez. Shot no good. McFarland fights for the rebound. That'll be a jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Javelinas. McFarland gets up holding her head. Payne to Kanya for Chloe Lane. Into the corner for Reve Payne. Kanya. Udall. Lane has a shot blocked, but a foul is called. And Lane with an exaggerated shrug. They said 14. There is no 14 for Western New Mexico. And the referees, officials trying to make sure they got the foul on the correct person. The original signal was 14, but the foul was, it was 14 for the Javelinas who drew the foul. That was Chloe Lane. And the officials get it right. Sarah Lopez is the one who was called for the foul. And so now we're ready to go again. Lane to try two. And the first one is up and good. Lane with 8 points today. And she makes it 9 and also makes the Javelina deficit 3. Alcoin comes in for Lane. Lane has scored in double figures in 4 consecutive games. And the Javelina baseball team with a good result at Nolan Ryan Field in the first game of their doubleheader. They beat University of Missouri St. Louis 3-2. Second game of that doubleheader starting momentarily. Live stats available on JavelinaAthletics.com. McFarland trying to get in for the last shot. Layup is no good. Rebounded by the Mustangs. A desperation heave by Cassandra Vickery is good. And Western ups their lead to 6 points as we head to halftime. 33-27 is the score. As we go to the break, Mustangs ahead by 6. They outscored the Javelina 17-8 in that second quarter. We'll be right back. This is Javelina basketball.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please direct your attention to midcourt as we're set to begin today's ceremony honoring our 4 senior members of the Javelina men's basketball team.
That's better than the ticket we took 2 5s yesterday.
Today's first honoree, number 2, Alex Mills. An educational administration major from Warren, South Carolina. Alex has played in every game that has this season, established himself as one of the team's best three-point shooters, hitting 35 triples this year, racking up 134 total points. He tallied 12 points Thursday in the Hawks win over UT Permian Basin. Back in December, he reached double figures in 3 straight games, including a 14-point day on December 15th, while the Habs topped Arkansas Tech 80-70. Alex is accompanied by his mom, Lisa, and his father, Bruce. Our second senior is number 13, Elton Dyer. Criminology major from Houston. Elton has played 34 games in the blue and gold, scoring 144 points. His Javelina career includes a 9.5 rebound performance against Adams State and a Javelina victory November 18, 2017. Elton also contributed 9 points in the team's upset of number 8 West Texas, January 10th of this season. Elton is accompanied by his mother Sharon and his sister Joy.
Because they didn't want to make time for it after. Same thing we did last year. You should. I remember it.
Our third senior this year is number 5, Jacoby Harris. Psychology major from Delray, Florida. Jacoby has started every game for the Javelina this season, and today is claiming his 52nd game as a member of the program. He scored over 300 points for the Hogs and has more than 100 rebounds to his credit. On November 24, 2017, his 19 points helped lead the Javelina to victory over A&M International. On December 15, 2018, he contributed 16 points in the Javelina win over Arkansas Tech. Jacoby's accompanied by his mother, Tequila. Our fourth and final senior, number 33, Robert Stevenson.
Like they can't even have any?
A business major from Houston, in his fourth season in the Louisville, playing in his 93rd game this afternoon.
Like not any at all?
No.
He stands as the program's all-time leader in block shots with 151.
Well, you got to make sure you
His
tell.
7 rejections against Western New Mexico February 22nd of 17 are the most by Javelina player in a game in school history. Robert is also a 2-time Lone Star Conference All-Defensive Team selection. His career totals of 411 points and 439 rebounds include a 21-point game against Arkansas Tech December 15th and a 12-point, 15-rebound double-double against UTPB on January 19th. Rob's accompanied by his mother Sonia, his father Marcus, and his family Sheldon, Darius, and Elliot. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2018-2019 Javelina men's senior class. Gentlemen, one more quick thing we want to talk about. As you know, the Javelina men have several volunteer coaches. One of our volunteer coaches has been with the Javelinas for 4 years. We'd like to recognize him for just a moment if we have just a second. Mr. Purnell Lockwood, please, front and center. Don't do the hole, man.
You got the girls' ones on there too, though.
Don't do the winner's
That's
line,
just
man.
that ceremony right there. Thank you.
The ceremony for the Javelina men's basketball seniors taking place at half court. Alex Mills, Robert Stevenson, Elton Dyer, Jacoby Harris, all being honored. Their coaching staff, Johnny Estelle, Omar Gonzalez, Matt Pressey, DeAndre Miller, all out at half court with them. And obviously they will be in action in the second half of today's doubleheader against Western New Mexico. The Javelina women trailing by a score of 33-27 as we are at the half here at the Spec. And Western New Mexico really taking over that second quarter, outscoring the Javelinas 17-8, holding Temuco just 2 of 13 shooting from the floor, and out-rebounded them 14-8, grabbing 6 offensive rebounds. They turned into 6 second chance points.
Microwave on signs of Kingsville Javelina shootout. Our 2 contestants will be Ismael Lopez and Antonio Del Bosque.
For the Javelinas, you wonder how much not having their leading scorer, Brene Thompson, is affecting this team. Obviously, Lane and Brianna Solis and company are doing their best to try and pick up the slack, but when you get so much production out of one player, on a night when you don't have her, it can always be difficult to try and find other players to fill that role. Sierra Fields, the leading scorer in this game with 11 points. Cassandra Vickery has 9. Tatiana McFarland with 8 points and 8 rebounds. Chloe Lane has 9 points for Tamuk. Brianna Solis has 8. For McFarland, she is closing in fast on what would be her third double-double of the season, and I guarantee you there isn't a single part of Tatiana McFarland that doesn't enjoy the opportunity to come back here and go against her old team. And I'm sure she'd love to spoil the senior day festivities. Overall in this game, the Javelina is shooting 8 for 25. Western New Mexico at 10 for 29, a slightly better percentage of 34.5. The Javelina is 3 of 9 from 3. All 3 of those trays came in the first quarter. Tamuk also 8 of 8 from the free throw line. While Western New Mexico 10 of 15, the Mustangs with 21 rebounds compared to 16 for the Javelinas. Led by 7 in the first quarter, whereas Western New Mexico only forged their 6-point lead at the buzzer in the second period. And they pushed their lead to 6 when Cassandra Vickery hit a 3 as the buzzer was sounding. And that was, at face value, looked like a wild shot that just had no chance of going in. But Vickery got it to go. And Western New Mexico was able to take a 6-point lead into the locker room. So the Javelinas coming out looking for a way to try and cut into this lead. And the Javelina pep band in action as we count down the final few moments of halftime here at the Spick. We'll be right back. The second half of basketball beginning in just moments. Both teams back on the floor as the second half is just moments away from beginning. And Western New Mexico holding on to a 33-27 lead as we prepare to start half number 2 from the Spec. And the same 5 will be on the floor for Western New Mexico. Fields, Victory, McFarland, Lopez, and Francisco for the Javelinas. The same thing. Taps, Solis, Payne, Metter, and Chloe Lane. Javelinas trying to get back that shooting stroke they had in the first quarter when they hit 6 of 12. After sinking only 2 of 13 shots in the second period. And Javelinas also going to need to find a way to try and make up this advantage, at least to some extent, in rebounds. Trailing 21-16. Fields. Vickery trying to work on Metter. Francisco getting it back, putting up the 3 is Vickery. Rebound tipped right back to her. She tosses it out. Lopez makes it a 9-point game. And now Taps bringing it up. Pass for Payne, thrown away out of bounds. And foul trouble likely to become an issue for the Javelinas. 3 of the players they have on the floor right now, Metter, Taps, and Solis, all have 2 fouls. And they also have Angelica Wall on the bench with 3. So Coach Wade Scott may have to do some clever maneuvering to make sure he keeps his best 5 on the floor into crunch time. Fields can hit that one. Rebounded by Solis, and they get Solis for her 3rd foul. And Western will inbound it. Lopez out to Fields. Taps, tips it, but Fields gets it back. Inside, stolen by Metter. Metter has Lane with her. Gives it to Chloe Lane. Shot too strong. McFarland the rebound, and she draws a foul. And quickly, 2 of those Javelina players pick up their 3rd. And this is an enormous game for both teams. And Wade Scott knows he's going to keep both Metter and Solis on the floor with 3 fouls. Javelinas can't afford to let this game get away. Vickery on Lane. Lopez. Fields wants to drive on Metter and gets the roll. Western ahead by 11. And right now, Western on a 16-3 run. The Javelinas throw it away, and Wade Scott calls timeout. Mustangs ahead by 11 at the 8:07 mark of the 3rd quarter. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network.
Remember, when it comes time for your next fresh, hot, made-to-order pizza, Domino's.
A well-played first quarter by the Javelinas is all but evaporated. Since that first period, after which the Javelinas led 19-13, they've been outscored 25-8.
Up 2, Cassie. Sarah, stay in that corner. Stay in that corner, Sarah.
Francisco for let's just check that, excuse me. Easy for me to say. Inside for McFarland. Pass right into the hands of Reve Payne. A much-needed steal for the Javelinas, and they have to turn this into points. Metter draws a foul, and she'll go to the free throw line. Or check that, just a call on the floor. Taps for Solis, trying to score over McFarland, way too strong. Lopez into the front court. Vickery gonna head right in. Pass underneath Fields, and he travels to turn it over. The 7th turnover of the game for Western, each team with a touchdown in that category. Taps gives it to Metter. Javelina's trying to get back into rhythm on offense. Taps with a floater, could not get the roll. Solis with an important putback. 10 points for Brianna Solis. Samook has it back to single digits, looking for a stop, but Fields converts for 2 more. Fields answers immediately. 15 points for Ciara Fields. Taps for Lane. Thought about putting up that 3. Metter. Taps. Lane into the corner. Reve Payne left wide open. Can't hit it. Tipping it up high is Solis. She bats it out to Rachel Taps. Now Lane will try a 3. That's off the mark. Vickery is going to bring it up. Almost is stripped by Metter, and a foul is called. It looked like Metter had the jump ball, but they call her for the foul, and that's her 4th. Hutchins and Kanya come in, and they replace Solis and Metter. Lopez to Francisco. This is the largest lead either team has held. Western's the only team to have a double-figure margin. Lopez with another 3. That's her 2nd triple. She's got 8 points. Western right now 5 of 15 on those long-range attempts. Pass for Chloe Lane, trying to find an answer, cannot. Lopez almost lost it, did lose it to Kanya. And Kanya immediately fouled by Tatiana McFarland. That's the 2nd against Western New Mexico. And for McFarland, that's her 1st foul. A 14-point lead for Western New Mexico. Kanya left wide open. That one in and out. Francisco for Lopez. Wants to drive on Kanya. Lost the ball. Grabbed by Hutchins. Taps for Chloe Lane. She'll try again. That one off the iron, and Lane just not feeling it right now. She's 1 of 10 in this game and 1 of 6 from 3. She still has 9 points, but from the field, as McFarland travels and turns it over from the field, Chloe Lane has not been sharp tonight. Taps, Lane, Kanya.
Stay on the ground, Cass.
Payne for Taps. Kanya gets it back. Javelina's working it around the perimeter. Hutchins will try a jump shot and sinks it. First 2 points for Nicole Hutchins, and now Ciara Fields is down. And the trainer quickly rushing to attend to her. And we'll take a media timeout at the 4:38 mark. A 12-point lead for Western New Mexico. We'll be right back. Javelina basketball in a 12-point game. The final minutes of the third quarter. Hutchins pass out to Kanya, no good. Javelina's turn it over.
Drive, Tachi.
Vickery to Destiny Johnson. Inside, McFarlane can't pocket the 2 points. Taps wants to run, has Kanya. Taps for Alcoin, wasn't expecting it. She gets it back and hits for 2. Javelina's within 10. Vickery to McFarlane. McFarlane needs 2 more points for her third double-double of the year. Out of the corner, a 3 for Rachel Francisco. Her first 3 points push the Western lead to 13, the largest it's been. Kanya heads inside, layup is blocked. Ball comes to Hutchins, right back to Kanya, who draws the foul. And that's the 4th foul on Sarah Lopez. Kanya to shoot 2. Kanya 56% on the season. Hits the first one. And Neray Petty comes back into the game. Kanya, senior from Mont Bellevue, Texas, who transferred from Coastal Bend College. And she hits them both.
Hey, Luke, Cassie.
Francisco for Vickery. Trying to get under the basket and is fouled by Nicole Hutchins. And that's the fourth against the Javelinas. And Chloe Lane preparing to check back in. Lane in for Hutchins. And Vickery sinks them both. Western has led by double figures for about 4.5 minutes. 38-29 was our last single-digit separation for these two teams. Payne looking for some help. Gives it to Taps. Taps, Turner has the shot blocked. It comes to McFarland. And McFarland willing to carry it up. Gives it to Francisco. McFarland travels to turn it over. Laura Unger wanted a foul called, but as it is, the turnover gives it to the Javelinas. Fifth turnover by McFarland today. Western has turned it over 12 times, but the Javelinas have just 6 points off of those opportunities. Kanya for Payne. Now Coyne waiting inside. Lane will drive. Too strong. Ahead for Vickery. And Francisco and the Mustangs willing to slow this down. Mustangs 5 of 8 from the floor. Lane trying for the steal. McFarland will shoot a three. And a foul inside against Western New Mexico.
Number 24, Destiny Johnson.
Catch up.
Fourth team foul for the Mustangs. Javelinas in foul.
Taps and the Javelinas hit 3 of their 14 shots here in the third quarter. They did not hit a 3 on 5 attempts. Taps trying to cut the ball, kicked to Alcoyne. Payne will try a 3. They fall on the rebound and a foul by Alcoyne. And the Javelinas are now over the limit. And McFarland to shoot 2. A win here would even Western New Mexico with the Javelinas in the conference standings, but the Mustangs would have an overall record that is would be a half a game, or should say would be a full game better. McFarland can't hit it, rebounded by Lane. Lane almost lost the handle, out to Taps. Payne. Payne will try a 3. No good. Good box out by Johnson for the rebound. And we've had more than 2 minutes of scoreless basketball. Last basket came at the 2:51, or last points were 2 free throws by Vickery at the 2:51 mark. Francisco to McFarland. Kanya trying to play defense. Up and under. Johnson there for the board. The putback doesn't give her the friendly roll. Taps grabs it and then draws the foul on Vickery. And that'll be 2 shots for her.
personal foul.
Hey, last play.
At the free throw line, 2 shots for the Hawks. Number 23, Rachel Taps.
Taylor, come back. Taylor, come back. Actually, go for this. Go for this.
2 shots for Taps.
Stay up.
59% free throw
Last
shooter.
shot.
And Taps hits 1 of 2.
Hey, Javelina.
Javelina's within 12. Western New Mexico in a hole for the last shot. They hit a 3 at the buzzer at halftime. Francisco inside for Clark. Pass for McFarland, stolen by Payne, and Payne will not get a shot off. And so we're through 3 quarters. It's a 12-point game. Western New Mexico up 48-36. 10 minutes left. We'll be right back. Lane to inbound the ball to start the 4th quarter. Francisco bringing it up for the Mustangs. Pass for McFarland. And a pass out of bounds. Possession to the Javelinas. Taps for Lane. Lane will try a 3. Metter sails in for the rebound and draws a foul. Metter playing with 4 fouls.
Foul number 23, Myron Metter. Her first personal foul, first team foul. And no, 2 shots.
Metter 2 free throws for the Javelinas need in a big way. And Jenica Padilla will check in for the first time. Second and 2 for Metter, rims out. McFarland just manages to keep it inbound.
Hey, driver! Driver! Kick back.
McFarland. travel and turn it over. That is 6 turnovers for Tatiana McFarland today. Rachel taps for Metter. Habs trying to make this a single-digit deficit, and that'll be a foul called against Rachel Francisco. Give you the landscape as far as the foul situation is concerned. Sarah Lopez has 4 for the Mustangs. Other than that, Destiny Johnson has 3. No one else with more than 2. For the Javelinas, Metter playing with 4. So Lisa and Angelica Wall have 3. And then taps and Lydia Guiral with 2. Kanya for Lane. Metter. Taps. Trying to drive. Has an open lane and draws the foul. And I believe that will again be on Francisco. Just like that, Francisco goes from 1 foul to 3 in a matter of seconds. Taps. That one too long. Metter wants to go right back up and cuts the deficit to 9. Metter now with 6 points. McFarland, Clark. Francisco McFarland asking for it inside, but instead Vickery gets it. Vickery, who has 11 points, lost it. Trying to force a jump ball is Kanya. The possession arrow will keep with Western New Mexico, but with only 7 to shoot. Inbound it to Francisco. Under 8 to play. We'll try a 3 and an enormous triple at the end of the shot clock by Rachel Francisco.
23!
Javelinas back down by 12. Lane and taps back and forth. Kanya out of the corner for 3. Can't answer. Javelinas are 3 of 18 from beyond the arc today. Off the iron from Vickery. Metter. Metter races into the front court for a layup. 8 points. Timeout Tamook. 51-41 the score at the 7:10 mark of the 4th period. We'll be right back. The 7:10 mark of the 3rd quarter, we come back in a 10-point game. Javelinas, it should be noted, have not picked up a foul yet. Francisco to Vickery. Fields, the leading scorer for Western New Mexico, has not come back in the game. Pass inside and a foul drawn by Clark. If that's on Metter, and it is, that's her 5th foul. And Metter will head to the bench, replaced by Reve Payne. Metter's had issues with foul trouble of late for the Javelinas. And just having a quick discussion with the referee.
In the game for the Hawks, number 13, Reve Payne.
Metter has now fouled out in 3 straight games. McFarland to Lopez. Lopez playing with 4 fouls. Has that one blocked. And we get a whistle and a turnover. I believe a 3-second violation. We'll get the ball to the Javelinas. Hawks trying to start a run here in the 4th quarter. Still enough time to do it, to erase this deficit. The Javelinas, who were shooting just 27%, got to find a way to get that shooting stroke back. Kanya, Payne, out of the corner, a 3. That one's too long. Javelinas also being out rebounded, 36-25. And Tamuk in the 4th quarter, shooting 2 of 7. McFarland. Francisco with it. Francisco misses the 3. Rebound underneath by Clark. Francisco back to McFarland. McFarland asking for some help to a cutting Vickery off the front of the rim. Payne, the pass almost stolen by Francisco.
23. Tati, they're overloading with shooters, so bump up.
Kanya will try a 3. Kanya in and out. That's at least the 2nd triple by Kanya that has gone in and out. And Javelinas playing good defense. They're holding Western New Mexico to just 36% shooting from the floor. And they've also forced 16 turnovers, giving it away just 8, but the shots just aren't falling. Vickery, Lopez, 6 to shoot. Over Rachel Taft. That one's long, and Chloe Lane will keep it in bounds. Taps to Payne. Lane. That one's an air ball, and then a steal from Solis. The Javelinas wanted a foul. And we've had about 2.5 minutes between, or 2.5 minutes separating us from our last basket. Francisco into McFarland, and she'll complete the double-double. McFarland now with 10 points and 12 rebounds. Kanya taps to Reve Payne. Payne to Rachel Taps. Kanya back to Taps out of the corner, and the shots just will not find the twine for Tamuk today. And it's one of those things, it's almost like when a compared to a baseball player being in a slump, it's one of those things you almost don't know why the shots aren't falling, or don't know why the hits aren't coming. Just isn't your day, or isn't your week, or whatever it may be, and that just seems like the case for the Javelinas today. And a 3 by Vickery, and that might be all she wrote, unfortunately, for the Javelinas today. As we were under 3.5 minutes, and Western's lead back up to 15.
Tina, I'm going to call a timeout on the next make.
Payne. Solis for a bucket and a foul. Javelinas needed that in the worst way. And That ends a drought of nearly 4 minutes. And Destiny Johnson into the game. And she'll replace Kayla Clark. And Solis completes the three-point play. Timeout from Lauren Unger. Right now, Solis needs 2 more rebounds for a double-double. She's got 30 points. We'll take a break at the 3:56 mark. Hogs down by 12. We'll be right back. Western New Mexico has led in this game by as many as 15 points. Javelinas have not led since the second quarter. Ball stolen by Rachel Taps. Payne cutting inside, does draw the foul. And 2 more free throws coming up for the Javelinas.
Destiny, middle.
Third personal foul. Payne shooting 2 shots for the Hokies.
First 2 free throws for Reve Payne, and she sinks the first one. 73% on the season.
Needs to be in the middle. Press break.
Payne trying to cut the deficit to 10, and she does her job. She's got 6 points. Lopez for McFarland. McFarland takes it across half court, gives it to Francisco. We'll see how cautious Western New Mexico is going to be on offense. McFarland driving on Solis. The layup is good.
23.
McFarland has 12 points and 16 rebounds. Taps has it blocked. Or I believe the referee called a foul, actually, and they get that one on Destiny Johnson. That's her 4th. And 2 shots coming here at the 2:39 mark. And Taps sinks the first of 2.
You need to be in the middle.
Taps with 4 points today.
Press break.
Right now, Solis 13 are a team high. 3 Mustangs in double figures: Fields, Vickery, and McFarland.
Kayla, your middle. Press break. Kayla, your middle.
And 2 more important free throws for the Javelinas.
Pass fakes.
McFarland.
Hey, 51.
Francisco and the Mustangs can run this down to about 2:07 if they so choose. They lead by 10. Payne trying for a steal, but trying to make sure she doesn't give up a foul. Francisco out for Lopez. Lopez high off the backboard, prevented by Solis. Ahead of the pack is Rachel Taps. And she is fouled by Vickery, whose only objective was to not give up the layup. And 2 more for Rachel Taps. Taps 4 for 5 from the charity stripe today. Javelina is trying to find a way to get back in this game. 2 minutes to go. And 2 more important free throws. Javelina is down by 8 now. Lopez and McFarland. Javelina's content to let McFarland be the player to carry it across half court. Vickery. And a timeout for Western New Mexico at the 1:55 mark. So the Javelinas have cut this deficit to 8. They are on a 9-2 spurt to make the score 58-50. 1:55 to go. We'll be right back. Lopez with 20 to shoot. It's a pick by McFarland. Back to Tatiana McFarland. Steal by Christina Kanya. To Solis for 2 points. 15 for Brianna Solis. Great pass from Kanya. Payne trying for the steal, but the Javelinas couldn't keep it in bounds. Javelinas now within 6 points. Kanya's 0 for 7 in this game, but that steal, obviously an enormous play. 90 seconds to go. And what's now a 2-possession game, and the Javelina crowd coming alive. Vickery. Francisco. McFarland back to Francisco, 9 to shoot. Shot clock at 5, at 4. Francisco wants to move left. A wild shot. Shot clock violation, but the Javelinas take possession. Taps. Lane. Really thought about the 3, but now Taps with it. Kanya. Layup. She gets it back. She goes up and finishes the putback. It's a 4-point game. Taps to Kanya. To Payne. And it's a 2-point deficit. The Javelinas on a 13-2 run. And with 38 seconds to go, it's a 58-56 game. And we'll take a break with 38 seconds to play. Javelinas have cut the deficit to a single possession. Or actually, no, we're going to stay here. It'll be a quick timeout. I think the Javelinas thought they had a full timeout left. All they had were 2:30s. And each team with 1 timeout remaining. 1 full remaining for Western and the 30-second timeout remaining for the Javelinas. Cassandra Vickery to inbound it. It was a 15-point game a few minutes ago. Has seen that deficit shrink to 2. Javelinas obviously do not have to foul. They're not required to foul here. They will get the ball back. And looks like they're going to play this out. They'll get it back with about 8 seconds left, and obviously Temuco with a timeout remaining. Francisco. Clark. And they get the foul on, they called a foul on Chloe Lane, and now Temuco has to foul. I think the Javelins were trying to force a jump ball there. And Javelins have to foul, and they do at 15.9. And it'll be Francisco shooting. As I mentioned, they called that previous foul on Lane. And the Javelinas have another foul to give. Hutchins will come into the game now. Ball to Francisco. And the Javelinas commit the foul. That one goes against Solis. And inbounded to Lopez, who is fouled. And Lopez is the player that the Javelinas did not want to put at the free throw line. She's at 83%. And Payne and Lane getting ready to check in for Temuco. 13.2 seconds remaining. This has been a furious rally by the Javelinas. And Hutchins and Giral to the bench for Payne and Lane. Javelinas have only one timeout left. And Coach Wade Scott requesting the timeout after this shot, and it's a 4-point game, and a timeout to 13.2 mark. And got to give credit to Western New Mexico. They knew exactly the player they wanted to get it into. That was Lopez. And she converted both free throws. Lopez with 8 points in this game. And the Javelinas obviously still with more work to do. Here with only 13 seconds remaining. Now obviously the most important part is they have to get it in and hit a shot. If they get it in and can't get a bucket, well then it doesn't really matter what happens after that. And so the Javelinas out of timeouts. Western with one left. Payne to inbound it. Gets it to Rachel Taps. Taps goes right in for a bucket and a foul with 10.4 to play. And now Giral and Hutchins getting ready to check in. And for Taps, this will be her 7th free throw attempt of the game. And now the referees bringing Giral and Hutchins in, and Jenica Padilla comes in as well.
Hey, Becky, if it makes timeout in advance.
And now Solis goes to the bench as well. So Payne, Hutchins, Giral, Taps, and Kanya on the floor.
Box out! Box out!
Taps trying to make this a 1-point game. And boy, is that an enormous free throw. Timeout, Western New Mexico. And now, almost certainly, the Javelinas will get the ball back with an opportunity to tie. And what an enormous bucket by Rachel Taps drawing the foul as well. And the Javelina bench exploded once that shot went in. Taps now with 10 points in this game. And after all that frustration through the second quarter and the third quarter and a large portion of the fourth quarter, Temuco with an opportunity to tie it up. They are out of timeouts. Now the question, though, is whether they get the ball back needing a 2 or a 3. Obviously, Western getting the opportunity to advance the ball. Both teams now out of timeouts. So Western with no alternative. Padilla has to get it inbounded here. Inbounded to Lopez, who draws the foul. And again, that's exactly the player Western wanted to get the basketball. That foul goes against Kanya. That previous foul, meanwhile, was on Cassandra Vickery. That was her 5th. And Lopez to try 2. She is 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Make that 5 of 5 now as Lane and Solis come back in. 8.9. So enough time for the Javelinas to get across the court. And DJ Slifer making sure Rachel Taps knows that the Javelinas have no timeouts left. Lopez trying to make this a 3-point game, and she does. So Temuco needs a 3 now at 8.9. Taps into the front court. Payne. Lane, the senior for the tie. No good. And that will do it. The furious comeback falls just short. And the Javelinas drop this one by 3, 62-59 here on Senior Day. An extremely tough way to lose this one for the Javelinas. And it came down, as it really should on Senior Day, to a shot by the senior Lane. It was from far out, but it was from dead on. And that one just, unfortunately for the Javelinas, did not fall. And they'll drop this one by 3. They'll be on the road for their final 2 games at Cameron on Thursday and then on Saturday against Midwestern State. And obviously, this is the first half of this basketball doubleheader for the Javelinas. The Javelina men's team, their game is about 25 minutes away. We'll have it right here for you on the Javelina Sports Network. Again, the final score in the opener at today's Twin Bill. Western New Mexico 62, the Javelinas 59. We'll take a break. We'll be back in time for the men's game here at the Spec. Don't go away.